Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganashadasham Tattvamasyarilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Dam Namami. Nithyanandam. Hi, this is Ma Nitya Ovyananda. I'm coming to you live again today from Nithyanandeshwara Sadashiva Devasthanam here at Adi Kailasa. If you see behind me, again, I have the beautiful Mahasadashiva and Parashakti Devi sitting there in Swamiji's Murti. And also, there's another Swamiji here, a smaller Swamiji. This is the Alankar deity. So each day for several more days now until the 28th, we are celebrating Nithyananda Purnima Brahmotsavam, which is celebrating Swamiji's life story, his Leela, but also that 28th day is his first enlightenment experience, the anniversary of that. So up until then, we're celebrating with a new Alankar. Alankar is basically when we decorate the deities, usually for different festivals, different times commemorating important events in that saint's life or that God's life or the deity's life, whatever it is. There's special moments in that life. So here we have these, Swamiji has a bunch of flowers on him today. And there's a tree at Arunachaleshwar temple in which he used to study with his master, Raghupati Yogi. And there was a Naga Linga tree there. And so many different stories revolve around that tree. This Naga Linga tree, a beautiful flowering tree. And several stories, which I'll briefly share. This one funny story I love is when his guru, Raghupati Yogi, was doing the puja. There's this particular dog that would somehow, Raghupati Yogi would be able to, through his connection with that dog, be able to tell the dog, what to do, basically, ask him for some assistance. So this dog would actually, see, he did this puja in such a funny way, he would have this dog go and get this flower from a linga tree. So how is the dog going to climb up a tree and get the flower? Dogs don't typically climb trees, do they? So whatever Swamiji was saying, he said how you'd be surprised to find out how the dog was climbing the tree. Nor before Swamiji, nor after. He said he found any dog being able to climb a tree. So this dog, basically, he would go bring that flower in the early morning, Raghupati Yogi would say, go and get that flower. So he would tell the dog to bring the flower, and of course, the dog would never even touch the flower with his mouth. Somehow he would climb that tree, and by his leg or his paw somehow, he would take that flower, and with 3 legs, without even putting that flower on the ground, that dog would somehow get the flower and bring it, and come and bring it to Raghupati Yogi. So then what Raghupati Yogi would do, he didn't have any deity or anything, he would draw something with his finger on the ground, and he would put that flower there in that thing, in that diagram or whatever that was, and he would do some chant. Then the magic happens. As many times before, Swamiji told how Raghupati Yogi would levitate. He would actually slowly levitate in a mild way. He would levitate and come above with that flower. And where he put the flower will just be for a few seconds. And then he would just land on that flower itself, because he would get into that diagram where the flower was and sit there. So that's how he did his morning puja. So I don't know if I've ever heard a puja done like that before or after, but what a story. Imagine a dog climbing a tree and getting a flower with three legs somehow. Because the tree is actually a super tall tree, and it doesn't have so many branches at all. So only the very top is the crown of the tree, where the dog had to go. Yeah, so it's a very interesting story. So then there's another story about how Arunachaleshwar temple, that tree was there. And when it would flower, it was such a beautiful flower, so thousands would happen. And it's near that Kritika Mandapam, which is 1,000, has a bunch of pillars where Swamiji used to climb those pillars. And basically, there was a time when he used to play there, and Raghupati Yogi gave him actually, there's this root of the tree that Raghupati Yogi gave Swamiji before, and he told that he would live without hunger and thirst. So with that root he carried with him, and he would live without hunger and thirst. So whenever he was traveling and all, and whenever he felt hungry or thirsty, that would disappear from him. And actually, during a time, Swamiji had a deep death experience at Varanasi. He went some months without eating or drinking. So he's established in that Nirahara Samima, in which he doesn't have the need. He's gone beyond the need for food and for water. But now, being in such a high energy state that he is, of course, I don't know for sure. He's never told me that. But I know a lot of masters, they have to eat and do different things to keep their body like on this plane, to keep their consciousness, to keep themselves in the body, because such a high energy he's working with. So food is used to ground a lot of masters. So we want him to stay with us, hopefully, and keep teaching the world. Instead of, if what would happen if he didn't need to, I don't know. So that's one story also about the tree. And an incident also, the tree was not flowering, but at one point, and I remember Swamiji was saying something to the effect that he would go there to that tree and just give the tree love every day and talk to the tree. And then sometime he went with a deep feeling of love to that tree, and suddenly the tree began to flower and drop flowers. And it went, months and months went by, and that tree wasn't flowering. So it was a lesson of oneness that he was getting, that experience, where that compassion and loveness he had with the tree, and it flowered just kind of out of the blue and started to drop the flowers on his head. So, and also here in the Gurukul, Nithyananda Gurukul, the kids did this experiment. They all had their own rose bush, and every day for maybe 3 weeks, they would sit with that with that rose bush for some time, and they would sit in that space of oneness and that deep love feeling they would give to that rose, and talk to the rose and whatever other things. And actually, if you can believe it, after 2-3 weeks or so, that rose plant started to drop the thorns. I'm not kidding. We all saw it. Definitely, all the thorns were just dropping off of those roses, and they wouldn't grow anymore with the roses, with the thorns on it. So it is a proven thing. You can try it at home. A lot of gardening people out there, if people think you're a little nutty for speaking to your plants and trees, you're not so crazy after all. And I encourage you to continue to do it. In fact, one of my neighbors, as I was growing up in my Purvashram house, he used to talk to the grass. And I used to wonder, what is this guy doing? He's talking to the grass. He's like, yeah, I'm talking to the grass. It helps it grow better. Because he was, in the U.S. where people are a little obsessed with their lawns, right? Especially in Chicago, they have maybe a lot that's, 50 by 100 feet and maybe some small patch of grass. So whatever little green thing is growing, it's very important to mow it and to fertilize it and put the hose and water it in the summer. So, this guy, he was a police officer and a tuba player. He used to speak to the grass. And, he always had a nice lawn, so it must be proven also in that way. So anyhow, this is the story, one of the Leelas of His Holiness Paramahamsa Nithyananda, one of the amazing mystical stories of his life. And you can go to autobiographyoftheavatar.org and read more about his life. And we'll be posting more new stories, starting with his childhood stories there in the days to come. Thanks again for watching. Nithyanandam.